Good morning and welcome to Wellness Wednesday mornings with Luann and Tim. We are so excited today because we get to get out. We get to go and visit people. Look at us.
They let us out of the zoo.
Well, you especially. I had to cut the log, but I got out too.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you folks?
We're good. How are you? Good. Awesome.
I'm fabulous because you have great coffee here at Feed Your Soul Cafe.
Feed Your
Yes.
Soul Cafe.
Yes,
We're
it's
here.
a local coffee.
It's
St.
a
Joe's
local.
Island.
St. Joe's Island. It has a hint of maple, this one that I got. And I think that
Yes.
maybe come from Hogan's Homesteads, their maple.
That's right. Yes, just down the hall.
Just
Down the hall.
Okay, this complex is wild. So this is, does the whole complex here have a name, Mary?
Mary's Place.
Feeding Your Soul Cafe.
Yeah.
But no, it started off, Chris Cooper bought the building.
Okay. 96 White Oak Drive.
Yes, and he's from Catalyst next door. Then he moved in and he had a little gym area. And then he wanted a little cafe. So
He wanted a little cafe.
So
You should see what he ended up with.
We knocked a hole in the wall because it was a daycare at one
Just a little
time.
hole in the wall
Little
there.
hole in the wall, yeah. And then we had two little tables and this, and then we kind of took over.
And then eventually the gym, the
The
Catalyst
gym,
expanded and moved.
Well, actually, they were there, but this was a kind of a different gym. But they
Oh,
worked
okay,
together.
okay.
And then Erica Hogan from Hogan's Homestead moved in.
Yeah.
And we have Robert in the front, and then we have
What's Robert do?
Robert's an engineer. He's hiding in his office right now.
Is he the two heads are better than one? What's that called?
No, two brain.
Two brain.
That's Chris, two brain.
Oh, Chris is two brain.
Yes.
Chris has more than, I think Chris
He's got
must
more
have
than two
brains
brains.
because Chris
Yes.
has done so many
He
things.
took one of mine.
Luann, this guy Chris has gone from like personal training to like business training, almost like
he's,
motivational and everything.
written 3 books, and he's like, yeah.
Chris Cooper.
This is such a great place. The vibe, you walk in the door and the vibe is awesome. It just automatically picks you up. And then you run into this young lady and she's always like, down and stop it, Timothy.
I've known Mary for a while. I know Mary's family.
And we're here on a Wellness Wednesday specifically to talk Let's Talk,
Bell Let's
Let's
Talk.
Talk, which is such a good campaign. Mary, what prompted you to get involved with Bell Let's Talk?
Well, I just thought it was a good issue, and just get everybody together and let's talk about it. Yeah.
I think that's such a big thing with mental health. Even though we've made so many strides over the years, I think there's still some stigma associated with it. And I think just talking helps that so much.
Yes, and we have Bonnie Skinner, who will be on later. She's a psychotherapist. She works in the building.
I'm
Tim
gonna
will
on
be
the
talking
couch.
to her.
I'm going to be on the couch with
Yes,
Bonnie Skinner,
yes.
a psychoanalyst. I think I'm going to need more than 10 minutes.
And also we have Miranda from next door, who is does life coaching, teaches nutritional eating. So it was just a combined effort to get everybody all together.
So it's kind of like one-stop shopping for both physical and mental health.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
And feeding your
we'll
soul.
feed you, yes.
Well,
and the
will you
feeding,
ever?
talk about feeding, the food is delicious here at
Like-
Mary's. I had a friend who said, you got to ask what her hours are. Is she open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or?
No, we're open Monday to Friday,
Okay.
8 to 4:30.
Okay.
We are doing a Valentine's brunch February 15th.
That's the Saturday.
Saturday, yes, yeah. But generally speaking, we take Saturday and Sunday to catch up and breathe and prepare for whatever else is coming up. Yeah, but we do breakfast. We do lunch. We do meals to take out. Or,
Oh, really?
She
for
caters.
Sure, yeah. We do lots of
Caters?
catering, yeah, for sure.
Tell her,
yeah.
tell her all the places you're catering. Hiawatha?
Well, we
You
do
feed-
the
you
food
do
for
the fun
Hiawatha. Yeah. So if you're at Hiawatha, you can get, we do macaroni and cheese, shepherd's pie, turkey pot pies. We do soups, chilies. Yeah.
All the good stuff.
Okay, and her husband Dean was talking about the soups. Like
Alexa, yeah.
Alexa. She calls Dean Alexa. Dean has retired now, but she's put him to work without pay. And she said he's like
He's
Alexa.
been voluntold.
It's like,
Yeah, absolutely.
but here, wait, you're not ready for this one. Tell about the flight of soups. This is brilliant.
Oh, yes. We do a flight of soups. I should have had a little board here, but I'll show you in the kitchen when
Okay.
we're there. And it has 3 little soups, so we do 3 soups generally every day.
They
So
do
you can get a
3
little
soups every day.
sample of every one. And
How cool
yeah,
is that? So, you know,
yeah.
sometimes you go to a restaurant and you go, oh my gosh, the curried cauliflower goat cheese soup sounds too good. But I also want the Thai chicken and lime, and I want to try the dill pickle soup because I've never had dill pickle soup. I
Did
want
you
all-
hear the names of all of those? They sound delicious.
I want all 3. Well,
And
guess
that's
what?
just for today.
At Feeding Your Soul Cafe, you
Yeah.
can have all 3. They serve it in a flight.
No wonder you have to close at 4:30. You got to cook for the next day.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, yeah.
The next day or catering at night.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
tell them about the meeting room. This is cool.
Yes, we have a really nice conference room. It holds up to about 22 people. Lots of people come in here, they'll have their conference, and they come out here, have their lunch or whatever, yeah.
And if you order lunch from Mary from Feeding Your Soul Cafe and you want to book the room, there's no charge for the room if you're having lunch
Absolutely,
here.
yes, yeah.
How smart is
Yeah,
that?
That's a deal.
And it's a nice
Yeah.
room, Lou. You got to see it. It used to be a daycare center. That's where you worked before.
Well, the whole
was all
thing
a
was a
daycare,
daycare.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But I'd say, like, we have 20 ladies coming in on the February 15th. They'll use the conference room because ladies tend to get a little higher and higher in their volume. So we'll just close the door and let them chat.
Speaking of that, are you licensed?
Well,
They have events that are licensed, like the Take
yes.
5.
Yeah, we have a Take 5, and Hogan's are doing it with us, and Outspoken. So, and at Christmas, we did several Christmas parties for businesses. So we get a special permit, and then they bring in their beverages, and
So for special
away
events,
we
they
go.
can be-
Yeah.
Guess what
Yeah.
else they have? A patio. Talk about the patio.
The patio.
We have a patio outside in the summer, and it's covered like with kites.
Cover in
and-
kites.
Yeah.
Luann, how cute is that?
beautiful.
Yeah, and then to the side is our vegetable gardens.
And I have to say, you know what? Coming through here the first time, this is my second time at Mary's place, and the first time I thought, you know what? It's such a bright light because it's kind of in an industrial part of town, White Oak Drive, sort of, a little bit, lots of warehouses and stuff, and then there's Mary. It's like, ah, yeah.
That was a nice note you
Thank
just
you.
hit.
Thanks.
She can't
I'm
sing.
doing it.
Let's talk a little bit about the menu, Mary, because you mentioned, is it someone in your family is celiac?
Yes, my granddaughter. So we do a lot of gluten free. It is not. It's not 100% gluten free. But when we do gluten free, we do it first thing in the morning or on the weekend when there's no other flour floating around.
Isn't that clever?
You know what, too? It's really important to note that because there are people who don't do restaurants because they have celiac or they're gluten intolerant.
Yeah, and most of our soups are usually dairy free, gluten free.
Wow.
So you can.
And they still all taste so amazing. How do you do that?
Well, I don't do it. Al does it.
That was my
Way to
question.
go, Al.
That
Right
was my
on, man.
question also.
Where is Al? I don't know where he is. Supposed
He's
to be
hiding.
here.
He's
on
making
the clock.
soup.
I got a question. When Chris first approached you and said, "I want a cafe," why you? What did Chris know about your cooking abilities? Was that
Oh well, I went to the gym at that time.
You worked out there?
I did work out.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'd worked at the daycare, so I'd always cooked for kids who, very honest opinion, and yeah.
That's a lovely way of putting it.
Yes, yeah. So as you say, he said, like I wasn't working at the time. You want to open a little cafe? And I was like, yeah, let's go for it because I was too old to work for somebody and have them tell me what to do.
Oh, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
A little cafe, too. Did it start off this size?
No, as I say,
No.
we had this counter and then we had two tables.
this was it? Like
my goodness.
And then there was another thing going on at that point over there. And then when they kind of were moving, I was like, oh. And then the furniture we lucked into, Aurora's was
Aurora's West Side.
renovating.
This was their whole
and
furniture?
so I bought all their furniture from them.
Comfortable.
Boy,
and great
things
shape.
work
Looks-
out
looks
sometimes,
great.
right? You know what? When you drop by, you have to have a taste of everything. So come hungry because Mary's food is really phenomenal. And the word gets out. That's the thing about Sault Ste. Marie, word of mouth, you and your reputation, my dear.
Here's the kind of thing
thank
too
you.
about this place. Dean, your husband Alexa was talking about how people tend to come in here and they'll just stay for a couple of hours, work on
Yeah.
their computers, read a book. They have a bookshelf, bring a book, take a book. And it is that kind of an environment where you just feel like you just want to sit down and not leave.
Well, that's okay. That's what we like. Yeah.
And there aren't people there with your bill right away. You know, as you finish your last, slurp of soup off your flight of soup, there isn't somebody there with your bill going, yeah, nice to see you, get the heck out.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we have had people walk out and not pay. And then they come back and go, oh, I forgot to pay.
Because it kind of feels like you're at home.
And I'm
really.
like, yeah, but that's okay.
So listen, the focus today is feeding your soul and wellness. Of course, it's Wellness Wednesday, and the focus is also on Bell Let's Talk. And so that leads me to my first guest, which is going to be Bonnie Skinner, who is a psychoanalyst. Is that what you call yourself, Bonnie? Registered psychotherapist. Oh, people, this could get really interesting.
You have your hands full, my friends.
I'm going to join her on the couch next, okay? So stay with us here on Mornings with Luann and Tim on location at Feeding Your Soul Cafe, 96 White Oak Drive. So, Bonnie, I guess it all began as a child when I had these recurring dreams that I was an elephant and I couldn't fly. And I remember watching Dumbo and thinking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I fly like Dumbo? Hi, Bonnie.
Good morning.
I just thought I'd make a little joke about being on the couch with a psychotherapist.
Okay, it's nice to actually be on somebody else's couch for once.
So, Bonnie, what's the connection between you and Feeding Your Soul Cafe? How did you? I know you're originally from the East Coast, Toronto, Sault Ste. Marie, and now Nova Scotia.
Yeah. So I was born in Toronto, grew up in Nova Scotia. How I ended up in Sault Ste. Marie, my partner was transferred for work. So I showed up here about 2 years ago.
Right.
Terrified that I was not going to be able to find work. I had a private practice in Toronto, and we came up to visit quite a few times. We have friends here. And I would always go back and say, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so much like home. Like, Nova Scotia, we're used to being on the water. It's like, this is perfect. We should move there. Then he got the call saying he was being transferred. And I'm like, no. Not happening. I'm not going to work. I just have a practice. Like, and I was in total panic. I got here. I started working for AFS.
Okay.
And
Algoma Family Services.
yeah, and that's right. And after a while, I realized there's lots of work for me here. I'm going to be okay.
Oh, I could rent this couch and be here for a week and a half.
Yeah, 100%. You're more than welcome.
Thanks.
I can get the intake form.
So how did it happen? How did it happen meeting up with Mary and Dean and the whole gang and Catalyst and all this synergy that's going on here? How did that work?
And that's exactly what it is. It's synergy in this building. So it was a bit serendipitous. So how it happened, I had a request from somebody who wanted private therapy at a time when I didn't have an office. I was still working for the AFS. I was still seeing some of my clients in Toronto, but I didn't have a space. So I, at that time, was kind of looking for office space, happened upon Eden, who used to manage this property.
Okay.
And she said, you could rent a couple hours from us. So that was a great idea. I came, kind of had my sessions, whatever the case may be. On the way out, she says, do you have regular office space? And I'm like, actually, tomorrow I'm about to go sign a lease downtown. And she said, well, we rent space here. And we got to talking, and 20 minutes later, I'm like, I'll be back. And the next day, I came up here and signed the lease, and here I am.
And the rest, as they say, is history. Hey, so there is definitely a feel in this building. I don't know. I think it's palpable when you come in here that there's like this really great vibe. So being part of that, how does that play into your business?
Oh man, it's called magic. So when you come here, everybody is happy, like genuinely grounded, happy. And what it does is it just kind of buoys you through everything, right? So some of them are happy because we've been to the gym next door, me not as often as I should be, and some folks here will tell you that. Yeah. But all of the entrepreneurs in this building and the Two Brain Workshop are happy to be here. They're happy to be doing what they're doing. They care. We love what we do. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of passion that goes into this place.
And it seems like that whole happiness, that all feeds into this whole mental health thing. It's about state of mind. So physically, feeding your soul, taking care of your body, and taking care of your mind. It's all going on here, right? Absolutely. So let's talk about Bell Let's Talk. When you're talking about anxiety and depression, you and I chatted briefly before this. In your opinion, are there overdiagnoses of anxiety and depression these days?
Oh man, I could talk for hours on that one. So I'll tell you how I see things. Okay. So one of the big struggles that I have is when my clients come in, and I usually do quite a thorough history, right? So, is there any previous diagnosis? Have you had struggles before? And they will tell me that they've been diagnosed somewhere along the line with either anxiety, depression, generalized anxiety, in some cases, bipolar disorder or manic depressive. But one of the things that I will often find is that there has been somewhere in their past a legacy of trauma, right? And so what we know is that anxiety and depression are usually spin-offs from the impact or the experiences that we've had. Right now, it doesn't always have to be trauma. It can be something like, we don't have the amount of inputs, right, in our lives. So meaningful
Lack of control.
connections, engagements, right? So it may be that if I'm not eating well, right? So I don't know if you've ever, well, you haven't, but for those who encounter me, 2 weeks out and I've not been to the gym, I've not eaten well, I'm not drinking any water, I haven't seen daylight because I have no windows in my office, I'm not a happy camper.
No.
So those days I come in and Mary's like, here. Right? So
Feed your soul.
yeah, so it takes sorry, yeah, but please feed your soul before you see anybody. But
I call it hangry. I get right miserable. If I don't take care of myself, it comes out in anger in me. I become very mal-tempered.
yeah, because what's happening is your brain is trying to signal to you that you don't have enough of what you need.
Right.
One of the struggles that we have, that a lot of us have with mental health, is that we don't teach individuals about their brains and what their brains need and what their brains are trying to say. So we live in a society where when things come up, when our brain sends us signals, we downplay them. So for example, I have a lot of, nurses who I see or educators who I see, and they'll tell me, on the run of a day, they need to go pee, and I don't even have time to pee. It's like, well, your brain has told you what you need,
Right.
and you're not going to listen. So, or it's like, I have this anxiety and I don't know why, right? Or I have anxiety for no reason. You don't have anxiety for no reason, right? So our brains are incredibly energy efficient, right? They don't waste energy.
And I think would their concern be that people are being diagnosed with anxiety/depression and then they're being medicated but not being taught how to deal with it properly? Because that's what I kind of feel like, here, take this pill and you're going to feel better, but that's not really resolving anything.
Yeah, and so in a lot of cases, there is a lot of support around, you know what, it works for some people, right? So if you're in a severe depression and you are suicidal or you're feeling that hopelessness and there hasn't been anything else that you responded to, and the medication works, hey, listen, there's a place for it, right?
Oh, I totally agree. I'm not discounting the fact that medication is necessary in many instances, but I just feel like sometimes the pill is replacing the therapy.
Yes. In a lot of cases, that can be what's happening. So, and I think what is also happening is we don't necessarily talk about the causes.
The trauma.
Of anxiety and depression. Yeah, so it can be causes, but it can also be the imbalance in our lives, right? So in our consumerism society, right, we like to buy, and buy means we need more and more and more. And so there's this idea that, we're putting out so much psychological and physical energy, and there is no emphasis on making sure that we're able to recuperate that.
Right.
Right? So we work 40, 50, some people, 60 hours a week, and we may not be sleeping right. We don't prioritize sleep. We're on our phones, in 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. We're not taking time to think about what our bodies and what our brains need. So after a while, anxiety and depression, so if you think of them not as illnesses, but instead as responses, right? So these are neurological responses.
I like that.
Right?
Well, no, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So
I'm not sick, I'm just not responding well.
yeah, but you know what? That's absolutely it. If you think of most illnesses, right, it's a response to something. A virus is a response to something that is not supposed to be in your body, right? So the struggle that I often have is that we make the assumption with anxiety and depression kind of generally that there's something wrong with your brain. It doesn't know what it's doing. And it's like, maybe if there's an injury or something like that, but in most cases it's trying to tell you something, right?
So I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you. I ended up in rehab, and when I was in rehab, I found out that I had internalized homophobia because I grew up in this city back in the 1960s and 70s when there was no one to talk to or no one to relate to as a young gay male. Yep. I was confused. I felt guilty. I carried that stuff with me until I finally figured out what was going on inside my head, and that was I was doing so much damage to myself and not allowing myself to be happy, to be free, to you know what I mean, to live, and so those kinds of revelations would never have come to me if I hadn't talked it out.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: so not only are you having those thoughts and those kind of worries and stresses and shame, but here's what your brain is doing. Your brain is now putting you in a state of hypervigilance, which means every time you go out, it's going to think, I don't know if I'm safe here. I don't know if somebody's going to say something. I don't know if I'm going to be shamed. I don't know. So now,
what a horrible way to live.
Yeah, if you think about it, I always, kind of use the idea of an airplane radar. So if a nice calm pace is like this, right? I'm healthy. I feel like I'm safe. I don't have to worry about too much. This is what your brain does. When we're in a state of hypervigilance, it does double time. Now I'm looking. So my baseline of anxiety goes up, and when my baseline of anxiety is high, I'm pouring out psychological energy. It's a matter of time before the brain says, "Listen, this isn't sustainable. I'm going to shut this party down."
Right.
And now we have the symptoms of something that we call depression. Right? So now I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to call my friends. I don't want to go to work. And it's not because I've all of a sudden decided I have the crappiest friends in the world.
No.
It's because my brain is saying, you can't do things that cost energy because I don't have much left.
Belle, let's talk to her. Can I book you on the show? Because we never even got to the trauma-informed care and all the other things on our little list here. Okay, I look forward to that. You're going to join me on the show another day in the studio. And in the meantime, we have to go to commercial, and we'll be back with Luann after this on Mornings with Luann and Tim, live on location at Feeding Your Soul Cafe, 96 White Oak Drive.
Good morning again, and welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. We are on location. I cannot believe they let us out of the building. I'm so happy. Free coffee and everything. We are at Bell Let's Talk in partnership with Feeding Your Soul, Feed Your Soul, and also in this complex that we're featuring this morning, you have to come down and check it out. We're at 96 White Oak Drive. There are all kinds of different awesome partners that are working together. As you just heard with Tim, there's a psychotherapist on property, which is so helpful, and Tim has to have her back because she's got so much information and her energy is so awesome. So we're going to talk to Bonnie again. But now we're going to feature, I love this. Miranda, this is so cute. Join the Catalyst family at the Happy Gym.
Hello, yes.
Now, the Happy Gym is, I think, kind of part and parcel with this whole vibe here.
Absolutely. So Catalyst Fitness is known as the Happy Gym. It's because we've established a family environment. So our members aren't just our members, our clients aren't just our clients, they're family. So
If you talk to someone like me, for instance, who hasn't worked out in, a year or so, and now I'm sort of intimidated to come to a gym and, feeling like I can't keep up. Is that something that you deal with as well?
every day. So every day, everybody's beginning, somebody's starting from either no experience or they're deconditioned and they haven't been doing any fitness for a long time. We want you. We want to make you feel comfortable. We want you to make tiny little wins every day. We sit you down and we talk about what your goals are, and then we set you up with somebody who's going to help you reach those goals step by small step. And it's just such a comfortable, welcoming environment. It matches part and parcel with Feeding Your Soul Cafe.
Now, with regards to, the small wins, I think that that's so important, and I think that's probably one of the best things about going to a gym and having someone like yourself direct us a little bit is because you can remind us of those small little wins.
100%. We focus on bright spots. Coming through the door and taking your coat off, that's a win. Getting in your car and getting to your appointment when you're freaking out, wondering, and your heart is beating, and you have that anxiety because you're coming to a new building, new people you don't know. Just coming up to the gym and knowing that you're going to be welcomed by a warm, smiling face all the time. Not only the coach that's going to greet you, but also all the members that are always welcoming and happy and smiling and encouraging. That's our biggest focus, is making people feel comfortable and knowing that they're gonna achieve something every day.
Now, you and your husband do the gym, are together on the gym, and you're a nutritionist.
I'm a nutrition coach, that's right. And so what I like to do is help people understand that they can really impact how they feel daily by what they eat. So I like to keep things simple and teach people that if they're prepared for the day with food, they can keep their mood stable by making sure that they're fueling their body from the very beginning of the day all the way till the end, so that they can stay focused on whatever their tasks are at hand instead of feeling hungry.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so important to understand that there's a partnership between nutrition and working out, exercise, being a little bit more active. And a lot of us don't make that connection well enough. For instance, I'll starve myself for about 4.5 minutes and wonder why I didn't lose 10 pounds. But you got to realize, I guess, that you have to be consistent.
You do. It's so true. You have to be consistent with what you're eating. And it's not just what you're eating. I also talk about all of the things that impact your overall health. So sleep, getting adequate sleep. Of course, the exercise, which helps us feel better by producing endorphins, like happy hormones, right? Water intake dramatically impacts your mood and your ability to retain information and your body's ability to metabolize fat, all kinds of things. Also mindfulness, like it's not just one thing, it's a whole plate full of things that I talk about in terms of fitness and nutrition.
I think it sounds like such a well-rounded environment to be in because, as you mentioned, there are some of us who aren't educated on all of the different aspects. And I think that a lot of us don't understand, Belle, let's talk, that we need to talk about how we're feeling mentally as well.
Exactly, and every person who comes to Catalyst, either for nutrition or for fitness, it all starts with a talk. We sit and let's talk about what are your goals, what are your barriers right now, what are your challenges, and how can we help you with those challenges.
I imagine too, for a client coming to you, it would be important for you to understand in that talk what their history is of weight loss and weight gain, and are they yo-yoers? Yes, I am.
Absolutely. When I'm doing a nutrition consultation or fitness and nutrition consultation, I can take up to an hour to get that history, to ask you, what does your day look like? What have you tried in the past that has worked? What hasn't worked and why? And what do you see yourself? What is a perfect day for you? What is a regular day for you? What is a bad day for you? And what little changes can we make to turn those things around?
And with the fact that we're focusing on mental health, of course, what makes you eat, right?
Exactly.
Because I never eat when I'm hungry.
Yes, we talk about habits such as, rewarding, either punishing yourself with food or rewarding yourself with food rather than other intrinsic rewards that you could kind of substitute. So yeah, it's behaviors is what we talk about. I don't like to talk about elimination. I don't like to talk about restrictions. I like to talk about behaviors because changing small behaviors is what will help you change your lifestyle into something that you can sustain over a long term and be happy and happier and be able to manage stress a little bit better by making those small changes.
Catalyst Gym, such an integral part of what's happening here at 96 White Oak Drive. If we want to get involved very quickly, how can we do that? Can we call you? Should we drop in?
You can go on the Catalyst Fitness website. You can call the gym, which is at 88 White Oak Drive, so it's right next door. It's attached to the building. You could come in here and ask Mary how to get a hold of me. That's probably your easiest way, and get a coffee. Yeah, we're on social media. We're on Facebook, website. Just drop into the gym anytime. You'll always be welcome.
Terrific. Thanks so much for taking time. I know you're busy. Appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me here and including me.
We'll be back. Mornings with Luann and Tim right after this.
Because we don't have a live studio audience when we do on TV in the studio. So to have you people here watching us live is so much fun. Did you know when you came here this morning that you were going to get a therapy session and a mental workout from the gym from Miranda?
No, we were not aware of that. I didn't bring any money, so this is all.
Thanks for the free therapy there.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Bonnie. So, Joyce.
Yes.
What brings you here this morning?
It was coffee and muffins. Actually, this is the best coffee in town.
Okay.
And we used to come occasionally. Now we come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after we snowshoe for an hour and a half.
You all snowshoe together?
Yes.
Isn't that, look, Miranda's so proud of you.
Awesome.
Okay, the reason I brought you all together, first of all, before we get going, Bonnie, tell me about, Bonnie has a workshop coming up. You said you wanted to hear more from Bonnie.
I would love to hear more from Bonnie.
Because she said she sees you. Tell the story.
Well, like Joyce was saying, we snowshoe 3 days a week, and after we've been out on the trail for an hour and a half, we come here for the best coffee in town. And
the
Bonnie
muffins.
walks, and on Friday, the cinnamon buns.
Oh.
But don't come till after we've gotten ours.
And don't
Don't come till 11.
and don't tell Miranda.
Don't tell Miranda. No.
For a workout afterwards.
Yeah, then after that. Okay, anyway, so
Well, exactly. And so we're sitting, we're chatting, and Bonnie walks by to get her coffee, and I always say, "Oh, good morning." I didn't even know what her name was. I just saw her all the time, so I kept saying good morning. And then I was listening to her, and I'm going, wow.
was there anything in particular that registered with you that Bonnie was talking about?
Well, like Joyce said, that hypervigilance, that is an amazing thing, because really when you think about it, then you can think back in your own, what's happening in your life or what's happened in the past, and you can go, that was what was going on. Exactly. But now that we're retired, we don't really have
Hypervigilance
that.
is over.
Hypervigilance is over.
No more hypervigilance.
But tell them then about, thanks for being our microphone holder, Joyce. You're very kind. This is Luann's replacement, by the way.
Yes.
Luann's retiring in June. Did you want to come out of retirement there, Joyce?
No, thank
Mornings with
you.
Joyce and Tim.
This is ONNtv succession planning.
There you So tell me about the workshop coming up this month.
Okay, so it's called Therapist Not Required, a new look at treating anxiety and depression. And so basically it's kind of following on what we talked about earlier. It is looking at anxiety and depression as a response and not as illness. So what is it that our brains are trying to tell us about our lifestyle, about the way we're living, about the way we're eating, about the way that we're not working out and not snowshoeing, and all of those things. And so I talk about what are the signs, what are the symptoms, what is it that our brain does, and how does it communicate with us? What are the things that we actually need, and how do we recover?
Where are you conducting the workshop?
That will be right here.
Really?
Unless our numbers are too big, which I'm happy to move it somewhere else, but it will be at 96 White Oak Drive. It is on February the 29th. It is a full-day workshop.
February the 29th. We have one of those this year.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
That's kind of cool that it's a leap year and you're doing that on the 29th. I like this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Extra time.
what time did you say?
It's going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we usually go till about 3:30, 4 o'clock for
Wow.
those of us who are in the health professions. It is pre-approved by CPA for
Is that the Canadian Psychotherapy Association or something like that?
Pretty close. It's the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association.
Okay, that's close.
Pretty good, though.
Thank you.
Well done.
I'm good with acronyms. I used to
Yeah.
work for APH.
Oh, there you go. So it is six continuing education credits, and it is open to everybody, right?
Excellent. How do we register?
You can actually go on the website at skinnerpsychotherapy.com, and there will be a link there, or you can go on Eventbrite.
Okay. Let's talk now. We haven't chatted with Joyce.
Yes.
What registered it gets tiring, doesn't it, hold that
does,
microphone? I
really.
know. I have one
Who
bicep
knew?
that's way bigger than the other
I'm
one.
gonna have to change hands. Yes, okay.
So Joyce, tell
Yeah.
me, as we work out together, was there anything that registered besides the hypervigilance with you, that listening to the conversation that we had with Bonnie, or even just any of the conversations we've had today?
I think the combination here with, feeding your soul, the talking about our brain and how that needs nourishment, and then hearing about exercise, which we exercise and we do it outdoors. Like, we really like being outdoors. That's
Right.
kind of our psychotherapy.
Right, you know what?
Yes.
So true. That's what I say. People will talk about sometimes religion and how faith can help you. For me, my religion is going out to the lake. Hey, Boo, where'd Boo go? Over there. My friend Betty Lou over there. We grew up together out at the lake. And I'll tell you, if I'm ever feeling like I need a refresher, I go out and I just sit at the beach. I look at the waves. I look at the sky, and I think, okay, in the grand scheme of things, my problem, I can deal with this, because the world this is a huge universe, and I'm a speck. So let's get this speck straightened out, and it kind of puts you in perspective, right? What about now? What's your story there? At the end, how Bell Let's Talk? Did you know it was Bell Let's Talk Day, and does it matter to you?
Yes, I did, and yes, it matters to me, and I love the concept of thinking of the brain, thinking of the body. I love the fact that we're outdoors at least 3 times a week, and I love the fact that, as Joyce said, we used to come here for coffee once during our 3 days. Now we come 3 times. because the socializing and the talking. It's really hard to talk, well, for me. I'm too busy trying to breathe when I'm out there. But
When you're snowshoeing?
yeah, exactly. And the other girls are chatting up, and that's fine. But at least when I come here and have coffee, I can chat at them. Yeah.
Now, she just raised a really important issue, socialization, having this connection. Bonnie, let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely huge. So I will throw out a recommendation for one really great book. It's called Lost Connections by Johann Hari, and he lays out 9 factors that influence our mental health and connection, actually called Lost Connections. Connection is one of them. And he talks about how over the years, the ways in which we have connected change. However, we are biologically wired for connection. So our brains developed at a time when we were in our hunter and gathering context, and we needed each other. So our brains need people, right? And we don't think about that. So it is a major factor. So in your being outside, snowshoeing, hiking, all that kind of stuff, you've got social connection, you've got light, which we need, you've got all that camaraderie, you've got the exercise, right? You've got the move, you've got so many of those factors, which is excellent.
And Miranda? Joyce, thank you.
On that, at Catalyst Fitness, we like to foster that social connection. So we have the idea of the Catalyst family and the happy gym. The one thing that members always, when I interview people for our member highlights, the one thing that everybody always brings up is that feeling of feeling like they belong. And feeling like the encouragement of somebody cheering for them in the middle of a workout, even somebody walking in and shouting out encouragement when somebody's doing a personal training session and they don't even know who it is and they just are shouting, right on, keep going, you got this. You always hear somebody cheering when you're in our happy gym.
I want to thank you all for participating in this little Let's Talk session right here at Feeding Your Soul Cafe. Joyce, you were amazing. A round of applause for Joyce, everyone.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more Mornings with Lou and Tim right after this. I got my apron on. I'm in the kitchen with Mary and Miranda. And what are we making, Mary?
We are making white chicken quinoa chili.
And Miranda, tell me how this relates to you.
Well, this is one of the recipes that comes from one of the meal plans that I provide to my nutrition clients.
Like, for instance, what happens? You got that there.
So this here is a 3-compartment container, and I will teach my clients how to use this to prepare for their lunch by filling it in a certain amount with the different macronutrients that you're going to hear about in this recipe.
And on Tuesdays, you do a thing in conjunction with Catalyst Fitness.
Yes, I get a recipe off of Miranda's list, or she'll send me a recipe, and we cook it all up, and it's just it's full of good things, and it makes your body full after you've worked out at the gym. Or you can take it home for supper and have it that night.
What do you call it on Tuesdays?
Nutrition Tuesdays.
Nutrition Tuesdays. So you work out with Miranda, and then Mary makes a recipe ready for you to take home or eat that she approves. I love this.
So do we.
So what's in the white chicken quinoa chili?
Okay, well, do you want to start cooking it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we're gonna start with this, and instead of oil, I use some water. So we're not using oil to steam things. So it's a little. It's better for you, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You're eliminating that.
Eliminating the fat.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah, that's right. So then we're going to put
Onions and water?
onions and water, and we're going to cook that down a little bit
Till they're softened?
till they're softened.
I put a T in softened.
Softened, yes. Let's soften those up. And then, as I say, we'll cook that a little bit.
Okay.
Then we have a bunch of other goodies that we will throw in. We have some cumin, some oregano.
Those are those cumin? That's ground cumin.
Ground cumin, yes. We have a little bit of lime juice.
Oh, yum.
Yep. Some salsa, garlic. What I do, and our broth that we make our broth here.
You make
so
your own
there's no
broth.
Sodium in it.
There's the soup guy over there. What's his name?
That's Al.
Hi, Al.
That's Al, the soup guy. Yeah. And the good thing about this, it's one pot. It's easy to do. I throw the chicken breasts in whole, so they break up. So all you have to do
They
is
fall apart in the thing?
yeah. So all you have to do is if you go home that night, because we love to share our recipes, or as I say, you get it off Miranda's site.
Yeah.
So you go home, you're busy, you throw everything in a pot, you kind of walk away, let it sit for an hour, then all of a sudden you have your supper or your lunch or meals for a few days.
Get out. Okay.
I like to just let Mary cook it and come and get it.
You like to just buy it from Mary and take it home?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the onions are
We
softening.
have the onion softening.
Could you do this softening? Could you do this in a crock pot?
Actually, you know what? I'm sure you could do this in a crock pot. I would put everything in the crock pot. And to double this recipe is like phenomenal. So you could
Really?
make a whole crock pot full. You could do that on a Sunday. You make your crock pot full, let it sit like for 6 or 7 hours during the day.
Slow
So Sunday evening, you portion it all up, and then you have lunches, you have supper.
So this will freeze. This will freeze?
Oh, for sure, this will free, yeah. And you know, it's something that the kids would like.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to tell them it's all full of goodies, but kids love salsa.
Kids love salsa.
They love
Kids
chicken.
love chicken.
The quinoa.
And quinoa.
We don't even have to mention that it's quinoa to the kids.
Where
We
did
just-
quinoa come from? When did it become so popular? I've heard of it like in the last 5 years or something.
It's just such a great complex carbohydrate, which is super important for us. A lot of people, there's some fad diets that kind of people are gravitating to that eliminate carbohydrates, but that's difficult for people to maintain for the long term because we're supposed to be using carbs as our main source of energy.
Energy.
So we want that quinoa, but it's all about balance. So this recipe is a great example of a well-balanced meal that has carbs, protein, and a little bit of fat.
And just a little bit of fat. Okay, so
So our onions.
onions
are pretty well
are
done.
softening.
Yes, so we're going to add a little bit of
Garlic.
Yeah, who doesn't like garlic?
Who doesn't like garlic? My father never liked garlic.
Really?
Yeah, no, he was Irish. They boiled stuff.
Oh, he liked potatoes.
He loved potatoes. Yeah, he loved carrots. Yeah.
I love potatoes.
Can I eat potatoes or are they bad?
You can eat potatoes. Potatoes are not bad. White potatoes, sweet potatoes, they're great.
I thank you. I like them.
Oh, really?
I like to boil those little baby ones that are different colors, the purple and the. You love those ones?
I always thought sweet potatoes were better for you than a white potato, though.
They are slightly, but not significantly. So you have.
I'm gonna move the knife. They're gonna start fighting over potatoes.
No, I love sweet potatoes.
They're super tasty. They have extra antioxidants, which you know because of the color.
Because of the color.
Exactly.
So they're like better for things like helping you get rid of cancer and cancer preventing.
Yeah, exactly.
Prevention. Oh, what now?
So we put the oregano in
Oh,
there.
if you could smell what I'm smelling right now through
And
your
then
camera lens.
I always like to put the quinoa in right now because I think it absorbs all the little.
It's a grain.
Yeah, it absorbs.
a great Scrabble word.
But you can get brown quinoa and white quinoa, right? Like
There's different kinds of quinoa?
yeah.
Just like rice, like brown
Yeah,
rice.
brown. Okay. Yeah.
And
Okay.
levels of processing, I believe, is what changes the.
Oh,
Could
okay.
add a little lime juice.
Lovely. Is that fresh lime juice or do you use the squeeze? Okay.
No, fresh, nice and fresh.
fresh.
Everything is fresh. Yep, we're about fresh. And then we'll add some
salsa.
Oh. It gets smelling like really yummy.
Oh.
And as you see, it's really difficult to do.
Oh, I'm hungry. This is so simple.
This usually doesn't actually make it home at
No.
all. No, it makes it to the car.
Takes it to the car or sit out there and read a book.
We're gonna put some broth in there.
Hey, I have a question.
Answer.
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Is there any?
Do we have Wi-Fi? Oh yeah, we have Wi-Fi.
That's good to know. Because some people when they can't do their thing, they're like, oh.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wi-Fi next door to it.
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Wi-Fi. Just people like to know,
Yeah, no, for sure. As I say,
That's a very important question, actually.
Well, nowadays, people. Although in this place, everybody's talking to each other. They're not on their phones. I haven't seen one person pick up a phone in here.
which is great. And then we're just going to put the chicken in there,
Drop the whole chicken breast. Drop the whole chicken breast right in the pot.
and then we're done. Supper's
How
ready.
long does
lunches
it
are
cook?
ready.
An hour?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're busy doing whatever, just let it.
You
sit.
cover it?
No, we just let it simmer away, and then it's cooked, and then serve it.
Does
with
it get thicker or like what? Oh, because the quinoa sucks up the stuff.
Sucks up the stuff.
Okay, you know what?
Sucks up the
Is this the
stuff.
finished product?
This is the finished product.
Show this to
and,
me. Oh
as
my
you see, Lots
gosh.
of goodies.
Okay.
And then.
Do I get to try it?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Why, is it cold?
No, it's not. I didn't call you late for supper.
Look at how the chicken just falls apart in
It
there.
does. It's so.
Are you kidding me right now?
Sells out all the time.
This is amazing.
There we go.
Okay, we gotta go.
It's so easy, as I say.
We gotta come back to say goodbye.
Oh,
We'll
and,
what?
And don't forget, Bonsu starts Friday.
Oh, we forgot about that. You sell buttons.
Yeah, we sell buttons here,
Wait,
but
we-
it starts Friday.
We can
so
talk
get
about
out.
that when we say goodbye.
Oh, okay. We're
Okay.
not saying goodbye yet.
No,
Oh,
no, we have,
Sorry. Keep
we have to
going.
bring Luann back. Remember her?
Oh, that's right.
Remember her? Okay, we'll be right back after this. It's delicious.
You know what? I can so understand why the snowshoe ladies never want to leave here. We had such a good time. Plus, when you're here, they've got everything. Mary's got it under control. This is a tea bag holder in case you need one of those. This is a little 2-cup thing of hot chocolate you can buy.
Oh.
There's Christmas morning jam. Look at the maple syrup.
Oh, that's
from
Hogan's
Coffee
Homesteads,
Mate.
isn't it?
Yeah, Hogan's. And then the coffee. And look at Took's. Even Took's. Anything you need. And then, of course, let's talk about the food.
Right?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, by the way, the food that we featured today, your white chicken quinoa chili, is going to be available down at
Country Waits Day, and you can also get a biscuit with that. Gluten-free biscuit if you would like. Yes.
at the Country Way on Brock Street. Also, Bonsu.
Yes, Bonsu. We sell the buttons here, and it starts.
Friday, January 31st.
Yes, this Friday. So as I say, don't forget to get your button.
So feed your soul and buy a button.
That's right. Yeah. And then
And you
get
know
out
what?
and do
That
exercise.
helps with all the socializing that we've been talking about this morning.
Getting
it
out,
helps
getting
you to
exercise.
talk with other people, and it helps to get out in the fresh air, get some light, get some exercise. And Bonnie, thank you so much for taking time today.
Thank you for joining us. It was wonderful. to have
Hey
you.
Bonnie, did you know that right now, if anybody has a Twitter account, that there's a tweet out from Bell Let's Talk, and if you retweet, every time you retweet it, watch the video and retweet it, 5 cents goes to mental health.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if
so
you
we will
have a
definitely
Twitter
be
account,
retweeting that
go
today.
find the Bell Let's Talk video, retweet it, and every 5 cents counts, right?
And you know what? If you want to sit there,
Over and over and over
right?
again.
Absolutely. Miranda, thanks so much, Catalyst Gym.
Oh, you're
Catalyst
welcome.
Fitness,
Thank
yeah.
you. Anytime you want to start your fitness journey, come on down and see us. Come see Mary, and she'll direct you over to us after she feeds your soul.
And don't forget to check out Bonnie's workshop.
Yes.
February the 29th.
29th.
Yeah, and you
Before,
could,
you can find that the information on my website at skinnerpsychotherapy.com.
there we go.
SkinnerPsychotherapy.com. You know what? Huge thank you to everybody here. You guys were awesome. Thank you
Our
for
live
coming
studio
by.
audience.
Really, you guys just did a great job. Mary, keep up the good work. Try and find some energy though.
Yeah, right? We'll be back tomorrow on Bum Slide Thursday,
And
back in
thanks
the
for my
studio.
apron, Mary. Thank
Mary,
you.
give her an apron, okay.
Thanks.
See you tomorrow.